Alright YouTube, welcome back. What I have here is an HP Pavilion model. Let's see if I can get that to the point where you can actually read it. G7-6338DX notebook PC. This is a friend of mine's. Pretty nice system. Has a external VGA connection. Also has onboard Ethernet, an HDMI, 2 USB, and if we can get the camera to focus here, audio out and microphone, and memory card as well. On the other side, we've got another USB and the power supply, Kensington lock, and it does have an onboard DVD drive. There are no ports on the back, and it looks like the unit does have a removable battery, which is nice, so if you wanted to replace it, you could. It came with Windows 7 Home Premium, and what I've been doing with this unit is I've actually upgraded it. Well, I've started the update to Windows, and I'm going to adjust the camera here, so forgive me for the bumps. Windows 10. So, the story of what happened with this system, his wife went to use the computer, and apparently it asked for a Windows 10 upgrade, whether or not the user wanted to do the Windows 10 upgrade, and the person who owns this laptop wanted to wait. They did not want to do the update. Unfortunately, his wife didn't know that, so she began the update, but then she thought about it and realized he probably wouldn't want the update. So she stopped the update by shutting the computer down, and then it wouldn't boot up after that. So it must have been in the middle of the update. And as a result, the computer was unbootable, so his father-in-law put on Windows 7 Ultimate, but it didn't have a key code apparently. So what I'm doing right now is setting up his system to do an update to Windows, and it's actually underway. It's already downloaded it, so I'm going to go ahead and open the laptop. Let's see if it actually powers on when I open it. And again, I apologize, I'm going to adjust the camera angle here. So it does not power on, so it must have went all the way into hibernation, which is good. The only thing I don't like about this system is it is extremely loud. I'm thinking that the Windows 7 installation on the system does not have power management installed yet. So more than likely, it's an issue that can be remedied relatively quickly. So if I log back in, it was actually in the process of preparing for the installation, so it was underway, and I really can't say how long this is going to take. Alright, so while I'm waiting for it to prepare the installation for Windows 10, I thought I'd look at the specs. Model number is G7-6338DX. The US product number A6, looks like Z27UA. Comes with a 2.3 gigahertz Core i3 processor, 2350M, 3 megs of L3 cache, 4 gigabytes of total RAM. I'm not sure if that can be upgraded. It does only have one DIMM slot. Oh, I guess it can go up to 8. So you could put an 8 gigabyte DIMM in here. I don't really think it needs it right now. It seems to be running perfectly fine for what he wants. Has integrated Intel HD Graphics 3000. up to 1696 megabytes of total graphics memory. I have a suspicion that shared hard drive is 500 gigabytes, 5400 RPM. It is a little bit slow, but definitely doable still. Super multi DVD, 17.3 inch diagonal HD plus bright view, and it is an LED backlit display at 1600 by 9. I have to say, for what it is, the display looks very nice. I'm impressed. 802.11 BG and N. Altec Lansing speakers, so sound is decent. A full-size keyboard, and it has a numeric keypad, which is wonderful. As mentioned before, it has 3 USBs, but they're only 2.0. Honestly, I haven't seen a big deal with that. The MacBook that I'm using, both of them actually, the 2008 and 2011, are only USB 2.0, and I've copied gigabytes of information, and it seems to copy very quickly, so I'm not disappointed whatsoever. It does weigh 6.05 pounds. Pretty heavy. Needs a 65 watt AC adapter, and does come with a 6-cell 47 watt-hour lithium-ion battery. I'm not sure how much life he gets out of that. It might be decent. And it has an integrated webcam. It does not say what the resolution is. This system handles genuine Windows 7, and it is Home Premium. Originally was 64-bit, so we're putting 64-bit Windows 10 on here. I may look for drivers to support the power saving mode on the system to get a little bit more power save on it. You can hear the fan ramping up right now. I'm going to go ahead and log this system into my Wi-Fi. It says it's downloading Windows, but I think it's all done doing that part. So we'll get connected here anyway, just in case it has some other drivers or whatever. I'm going to switch over to networking here, and we're going to watch and see what happens after I put in the password. It did download about 2.5 gigabytes to do the Windows 10 installation, so I think that everything it has in place now is all it needs to do the installation, so I don't believe it's going to be an issue. I did want to point out, if you ever have an issue where you have a new installation of Windows and the old directory is there and you do not choose to wipe the hard drive, which was the case with this system, you will see a windows.old directory, and in that directory are the old program files directories, the user directory, and the Windows directory. And if you go into the users directory, you can still recover the original documents. So I was able to get this user their documents back, which they were very happy about. There was originally a concern that the documents would be lost, but I was able to recover those. So I'm going to go back to performance. Really, the CPU is not that busy, so we've got 2 cores. It looks like a total of 4 logical cores or threads. And processor-wise, let's see who's taking up the lion's share. Of course, I got to do show processes from all users, and CPU usage is ranging between 24% to 25%. Physical memory's at 51%. So I'm a little surprised at the fan running quite as fast as it is. So once it gets on Windows 10, if it continues to run the fan at the rate that it is, I'm definitely going to look for some drivers and do some updates on the system and see if I can get it to manage the fan a little bit better, maybe not be quite as loud. Alright, well, the system is doing I don't know what. It still says preparing for installation, and the fan is running super high, as you can hear, so I think I'll just let it go, and if it does reboot, I'll come back and give you an update as to what the progress is. So still CPU usage 25%, about 2 gigabytes in use, and the downloading Windows 10, which it has already completed, now it's doing preparing for installation, it hasn't moved at all, really. So we shall see. All right, well, after roughly 2.5, 3 hours, I got to the point now where this message came up, and at the same time down here I've got a Windows 10 advertisement telling me, you know, it's ready to upgrade. So I have literally multiple programs telling me how to upgrade to Windows 10, which is kind of insane, but it's Microsoft. So I'm going to do the go ahead and do start the upgrade now. So it sounds like it's going to do a reboot, which is perfectly fine with me. And I'm assuming at that point it's going to go ahead and start the actual installation. Every upgrade from Windows 7 or 8 or 8.1 has went pretty well for me. So I can't complain. I really haven't had much problems getting to Windows 10. And quite frankly, I haven't really had that much of a problem after the fact either. Things went fairly well for me on Windows 10. But for my daily driver, honestly, I prefer Linux, Fedora 23, or a Mac OS. So I've got the older i5 Mac that I use quite a bit. So this is going to be a long install. I can already tell. And I don't even consider this a budget computer per se. I mean, it does have an i3, so if it was the bottom of the budget line, it would have a Celeron in it. So it is a dual-core i3 with 4 gigs of RAM. But it is definitely not going all that fast. So I'm going to pause here and I'll check back with you. Okay, so Windows 10 has installed, and the screen resolution doesn't look correct, so I may need to install drivers, but I'm going to click next and see if I can deal with drivers later. If I know this particular person, they're not going to want monitoring by Microsoft, so I'm going to turn off all of the extra stuff. Don't need to connect to suggested hotspots. Don't need to share networks. Really don't need to send full error and diagnostic information to Microsoft. It just slows things down. I'm going to leave Smart Screen and Page Prediction. I am not going to be an update hub for other PCs. I do not want to use Cortana, but even if you say not now, it turns it on anyway, so you have to say it again later. We'll go with the current default apps. So this part can take quite a while as well. We shall see. Well, that's reassuring. I certainly do hope that the files are where I left them. So I know this particular person does want their documents. It does make me wonder if this computer is slow because it doesn't have an SSD, or if the architecture and the layout of the logic board just isn't very well designed, because all the different steps to install Windows 10, if I were to add them all up, it's probably taken maybe 8 hours now, including the download. And the download part, if I remember, it only took about 45 minutes to download, 2.5 gig. Everything else was just preparations, installing through various phases. Alright, finally, after about 10 minutes, we get to the desktop. Once again, the CPU is ramping up again. Or I should say, at least the fan is. And the resolution of the screen is definitely not correct. So I have a feeling I'm going to have to download some drivers. Before I do that, though, I'm going to check display settings and just see if I can get lucky. Alright, well, it's set for 1024 by 768. I believe 16:9 is the native resolution from the specs. So let's do keep changes. Looks much better. I'm going to do a quick check though and see if I can find any Windows 10 drivers. And if so, I will install those and be right back. So HP doesn't actually support Windows 10 with this particular laptop. If you go to the HP website and go to the drivers page for this laptop, it actually says that the Windows 10 drivers may be available through Windows Update. And the screen just blinked. It's acting as if it's installing drivers right now. So there may still be some drivers being installed even now while I'm using the system. So it doesn't surprise me. It'd probably take at least one more reboot for everything to shake out. So I'm going to leave this up and running for a while, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a reboot and see if it comes up okay and everything's functional. So far, so good. So I did go ahead and run Windows Update, and there are quite a few updates that it's downloading, and I'm going to let it go ahead and do the downloads and see if it wants a reboot afterward. Again, everything's working, so it's really not an issue of not having a driver. But it would be nice if the CPU didn't cause the fan to rev up so much. I'm thinking that really the power management for this particular laptop isn't all that great in Windows 10. So while the system is installing its updates, well actually it's preparing to install its updates, I think we have the answer of why it runs so slow. The CPU really isn't being overly utilized. It's usually around 20 or 30% even when it's really busy. It has half its RAM left, but the disk is at 100%. So this system would definitely benefit from an SSD. It would make it much faster. Alright, after a very lengthy reboot, after doing the updates, the system has come back up. Overall, it runs very well, and I'm sure after another update or two, it should be running just fine. I think I might take a minute or two and defrag the hard drive and see if that'll help at all, but I'm going to consider this system done and ready to go. Thank you for watching. Like and share and subscribe if you are enjoying the content on this channel, and I hope to see you again. Thank you.